Hello and welcome to DFS Coach Talk. Today is a wonderful Wednesday, hump day, June 17th, and I am here with my partner in crime, Andrew Hansen, to discuss the PGA event this weekend. How are you, Mr. Hansen?
Oh, I'm doing well, Coach. Yeah, excited for week 2 here of DFS Coach Talk coverage of the PGA. And week 1, we had our best success on our weekend lineup on FanDuel. And you were the mastermind behind that. So share all the secrets on that one, the keys to success.
Well, I always have a tendency to either be in a position to double down with my golfers that are playing well in the tournament and, go for it on the Saturday, Sunday card, or I'm in bailout mode when my guys have missed the cut or whatever the case may be and trying to rebuild. So this week it was sort of a combination. I was so bitter because I had two guys at -1 that never were over par in the first 2 rounds, and neither one of them made the cut because it was -2. So that was gut-wrenching. But in that sense, it was a bit of a reload, but I did have some guys that were up towards the top. But, that's why we're bringing this show to you twice a week. We're going to do this Wednesday show for the full tournament, and then the Friday show, which will, depending on the situation, we'll call our double down or our bailout PGA show. But before we jump into all that stuff, let me mention real quickly, this podcast is brought to you by our 2 sponsors, MyBookie. Go to mybookie.ag for all your sports and wagering and casino action. Get an exclusive offer that's just offered through Coach Talk, hence exclusive. It is a 50% sign-up bonus all the way up to $1,000 and a nice little $25 free play just because you're a Coach Talk member. Our other sponsor also, TVG. It's where the world watches and wagers on horse racing. And it's an exciting horse racing season now. They had to zigzag all the Triple Crown races up. The Belmont's going to be first, which is usually last, and then the Preakness, and then the Derby. So it's bizarre, but it's all happening, and you can watch all of it on TVG. And you can get an exclusive offer there as well, which is a risk-free $300 bet. Again, you have to sign up through DFSCoachTalk.com, and the promo code is CoachTalk, and it's exactly what it says. You can put $300 on a horse. He loses, you get your $300 back, or if he wins, it's payday time. So you got to love that. So we really appreciate them as bringing this show forward. And also, jump on the social media bandwagon with us. We're all over the place on Twitter and Instagram. We post our podcasts every day in the video form on YouTube. And today we'll have 2 of them with golf and KBO. And all we ask is that you spend a second to subscribe, hit that little alarm bell so you know when we come on and when our show posts. And rate, review, and subscribe. We're all over the place, everywhere podcasts can be heard. So we just, as we're growing, we just love to get that feedback, hear what people have to say, what they like, what they're recommending, on and on. So as we grow, we want to do exactly what our entire group out there and fans and members want us to do to make it better for them. So we're always watching and listening and implementing new stuff into the podcast. So great stuff there. Again, I'll mention too, DFSCoachTalk.com. Jump in there. This is the time to do it. Sign up for a membership, and you basically get frozen membership time this next 7 weeks until the beginning of the NBA. And then that's when the membership starts. So we're crushing KBO. We could talk a little bit about that before we dive completely into the golf. But our hitters just were absolutely bonkers last night. So we made some money. But if the right from the Dinos would have pitched, Andrew, it would have been lights out, man.
I know. One of the biggest aces in the league, most expensive pitcher on the slate, and just threw out a dud. Really his first one of the season. And so you're right, that really cut into the profits. But the hitters were on last night. Feel really good about all the hitters we gave out.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, my three guys, my core three, scored almost 80 just between three guys. That's unheard of. So anyway, we're definitely getting better and better as time goes on, as we get to know more and more about these KBO players, and it's a lot of fun. But back to golf, and let's get back to that. You had asked me on the weekend how I had taken down some stuff, and really the new guys that I had plugged in there for my unfortunate guys that missed the cut, I kept the regulars that I was touting in Thomas and M, but got very fortunate. I added Woodland, Berger, who won the tournament, and Bubba Watson out of nowhere. He was cheap, and I had him all week, and he shot in the mid-60s there on Sunday, and really helped me give back some of what didn't finish out as well from the full tournament action. So that was good. So we're going to focus, again, every aspect of the tournament we can, from all the different statistical look. Again, we build every lineup by hand in every sport that we play. We think that it's even more effective now because optimizers are great for statistical and analytic analysis, but when you have situations that have not taken place before, like 3 months off in golf, and this is the second tournament back, a lot of these guys have never played this course before, but that doesn't mean they won't do well. Their games may play right into the course. There's just a lot of factors that you can't really layer into an optimizer, in my opinion. So we're going to continue to hand build and discuss through who and what and why we like them. And we think that, that advantageous position is going to help us here at DFS Coach Talk through KBO and PGA, and then just times 10 when it comes to the NBA and the other sports when they come back. Because let's face it, these are new times, things none of us have ever lived through in a lifetime. Certainly none of those players have either. So we're going to factor in everything we can to get every small edge to help bring winners out there to our members and to our audience. This podcast is 6 days a week. We're on every day except Sunday, because KBO only plays 6 days a week, and it's free in front of the paywall. So we're going to give you as much information as we can in these podcasts, and then to finalize and get all of our information, we're 30 minutes live before lock in Discord with all the changes. If there's any weather issues, if there's scratches, whatever the case may be, we're going to give that to you in the last 30 minutes and include a complete FanDuel lineup and a really solid player pool on DraftKings. All right, let's talk about this week's tournament. It's the Rbc Heritage, and it's at Hilton Head, South Carolina at the Harbor Town Golf Links. And I had mentioned to you, Andrew, that I actually got to play around at Harbor Town Golf Links in Hilton Head about 15 years ago. So that's a long time. But I was trying to remember the exact date, but I couldn't recall. It was about 15 years.
So other than the 6 birdies that you had, what else do you remember about the course?
Well, the hole-in-one was something. That was really
it's memorable, yep.
No, actually, at the time, I was playing. I've never been great at golf. Of all the sports I've played, to me, it's the most difficult. It drives me nuts. But I was shooting at the time consistently in the upper 80s. So bogey golf, which is good. But I don't cheat. I don't foot wedge or anything. So unfortunately, I do remember that I could not break 100 there. So it's tough. Yeah. It is tough. There are narrow spots. Those wood tie things are everywhere, and the ball bounces like 100 yards off of those things, and usually into the water if that's the case. So it's not easy. I do know that it's absolutely gorgeous. I posted a picture on Twitter and in our Discord. I mean, I just remember it's a couple of those holes you stand at the tee and you're like just totally overwhelmed how beautiful it is. But great golf course. It should be a terrific tournament. As compared to this past week's tournament, it's It's 7,100 yards, so it's just a little bit longer. It's a Pete Dye course, and I don't know if you follow course designs. Pete Dye is my favorite course designer of all times. I love some of his courses. He always puts a lot of sand and water into play, not the real heavy roughs where you can't get it out, like U.S. Open type courses, but he creates it where you have to be long in spots, but you have to be accurate in more spots. So I think compared to the Colonial last week, where you could spray the ball and hit it onto the other fairway and hit it back over the trees and be fine, you're not going to get that here. You're going to be penalized. There's a lot more water, a lot more sand, and I think accuracy is going to be important, but you still have to be able to smack the ball if you want to get in position of birdie, especially in some of these par fives, because if you lay up, you're not getting it home. I mean, I know these guys hit the ball like a gorilla, but still it's going to be tough to reach some of these par fives without a big drive. So anyway, did you want to go over a few of those stats that you had mentioned? Because I think that is going to be key today. As this tournament starts.
I do, yeah. My understanding of the course is that accuracy off the tee really is at a premium because of all these situations where you can have your ball in the fairway and you can be blocked by a tree and you can basically have no shot at getting it close to the pin. So you really have to, on a lot of these holes, hit it to the correct side of the fairway, not just in the fairway. So I think driving accuracy is at a premium, and the course has a lot of small greens. So the approach shot, strokes gained approach is also very important. So those are two of the key stats I've been looking at. And just looking at the top 20 in driving accuracy, what really stands out to me is that a lot of these guys are not the biggest hitters, which makes sense. Guys like Jim Furyk, who's number 1 on the PGA Tour in 2020 in driving accuracy, he's right around that age 50 mark. He's not one of the big hitters anymore, but he gets it in the short grass, and he has a lot of success. Oh, by the way, he's won twice at this course. So I really like Jim Furyk's profile here, especially looking at his price, only $7,100 on DraftKings. And I wanted to mention a couple other guys in the top 12 in driving accuracy that are both value plays. So one of them is Brian Stewart. He's only 6,600. He's made 12 of 16 cuts this year, 2 top 10s. Last week he finished with a 64, and he's made 5 straight cuts at Harbour Town, including a 16th place finish last year. So a lot of things, trending positively for Brian Stewart to get in your lineup so you can afford a couple more of the big hitters. And then Tyler Duncan is only 6,400. He's 12th in the PGA Tour in driving accuracy. Last week he finished tied for 38th, and he wasn't great off the tee. So I'm hoping that if he gets a little bit more to his typical form, then he can maybe even make a top 20. Because his approach game was really strong last week. So those are my takeaways on driving accuracy.
Yeah, and I think that will come into play. I know some of the other players that are paired with him on Thursday are calling him the OG of this course, and that's Jim Furyk. Just because he's shot in the 50s on this course, he's been out of his mind at times on this course. Now, I will say, yes, he is number 1 in driving accuracy, but he's literally like 70 yards behind Rory and DJ and these guys. I mean, enormously. Like, I'd be that far behind him is how far he's behind those other guys. So, I would love to pick Furyk. I think he's going to be overowned because everybody's reading the same thing. They're calling him the OG. He's done so well there. But, man, those par fives, are not going to be birdieable very much for him. I just don't see him garnering a lot of points. And because I think he's going to get an inflated ownership, I think I'm going to fade him. And not that I don't respect him and love his game, and I'd love to watch him be successful, especially at an older age. I just think that at this point now where he's even lost a little more distance, even though he's accurate, I mean, when you spot somebody 75 yards off the tee, hole after hole, when it's a long par 4 or a stout par 5, it's got to catch it. I mean, it just has to. So that's just my thought there. A couple of things I wanted to mention. C.T. Pan is the defending champion. He has not been playing that well, so certainly a wild long shot to repeat there. And the field wasn't even close to as good as it is this year. A lot of these guys didn't play in this tournament last year. The other thing is, guess how many times Davis Love III has won this tournament?
Once.
5.
Really?
Davis Love III has won the RBC Heritage 5 times. He's playing in it, but I mean, I'm not going to have the courage to pick him either at his age, but 5 wins. I mean, it's almost you almost want to put him as your last guy in on a GPP. You got to think he's going to make the cut with 5 wins at the course.
Yeah, for the past winners, I only looked back about 15 years, and I saw that he'd won it once around that time frame. I didn't keep going back, but that's a good stat. But I gotta push back on Furyk because he's won it twice more recently. He won it in 2010 and 2015. So actually, now that I say it out loud, if he wins every 5 years, he could actually win this year. But
do I hear another like shirtless bet coming, or are you a little shy?
I'm a little gun shy on that. But here's the thing: you're absolutely right in terms of him being a long way behind the big hitters, even if he's in the fairway. But this course is just under 7,100 yards, so it's not one of the longer courses on tour. Last week he was in good form, 3 rounds in the 60s until the final round. He had a 74, but you've got these 2 wins, 8 top 10s, and then in addition to the driving accuracy, he's also ranked number 20 this year in approach, strokes gained approach on the PGA Tour. He's in fact the only player in the top 20 in both driving accuracy and strokes gained approach. So one more reason why I like him. And if you fade him, then certainly it's a game theory move, and so I support that in general. But I do think he'll be a core player for me this week.
Yeah, his price is good. I really don't blame you. I mean, when he's hot, he can knock everything down. So I love watching him with that weird
funky
swing and all that stuff. He's a blast. DJ is from South Carolina. I thought I'd mention that. I'm thinking of dialing up DJ now.
He's cheap.
Usually if I'm going to play DJ, I have to have a few beers first because he makes me so damn nervous watching him. He's so all or nothing, and then he'll like miss a 4-foot putt and just like stand there like nothing happened. Like, what is with this dude? But I'll tell you, when he gets going, I think he's the best golfer in the world when in stretches when he's playing well. It's just between here, it seems like he's lost sometimes. But he's from South Carolina. He's got a good record on this course as far as his scoring. He's played it a lot. He may be a guy to really put a circle around. And believe me, I'm always afraid to put him on there. But you talk about a guy that can break a slate for you because, he really can. He can shoot some scores.
Well, you're right. There was a stretch there where he was the best golfer in the world. Once he started using that TrackMan, he had his different wedges and he had it completely dialed in, and he was just hitting lasers right at the pin, perfect distance. But yeah, lately he's just been a little bit out of whack. He seemed a little bit out of sorts last week. But you mentioned the course history. He's from that state, and only 8,500 on DraftKings. There's a couple guys this week that stand out to me based on their price who have a ton of talent, multiple majors, and they're just underpriced. So he's one of them in that category for me.
I'm with you. I mean, that's exactly what I noticed. He's always like the top 3 or 4 prices every week. And to see him way down there, like in the teens or whatever, it's like, wow, that's right when he'll come up and sting you and run away with the tournament. So, all right, I want to turn real quickly, if we can, to our sponsor here, mybookie.ag, and check out the up to the second odds. I'm refreshing right now. And these are odds to win the RBC Heritage. And it's coach's quiz time to put Andrew on the spot again. Now, I'm going to make this really tough on you, and you're really going to hate me for this one, but I'm going to give you the 5 favorites, and then you can't. The contest is you have 5 choices to get 2 of the next 5 favorites. Fair. So
Okay.
6 through 10.
All
the
right.
favorite is Rory McIlroy at plus 1,100. Justin Thomas plus 1,400. He was on my team last week. Bryson DeChambeau plus 1,300. Your man John Rahm, skinless, shirtless, John Rahm plus 1,800, even though he missed the cut. Oh, by the way, did you know he missed the cut last week?
No, I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he's the 4th pick. And then Xander Schauffele is the 5th pick. So we have 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, and they're all bunched at about 2,300 to 1, and you need to get 2 of them for the W.
Okay. How about another surprise missed cut last week? A guy who's finished 3 straight years in the top 20 in this tournament, Webb Simpson.
Correct, sir. He is the 7th choice at 2,300 to 1. Very good.
All
You
right.
only need one more win here for the victory.
How about a gentleman who missed 2 short putts that would have won it for him? Youngster making his first appearance, Colin Morikawa.
You got it, buddy. You swept the board. Price is right. You take them all. He's actually the 6th highest at 2,200 to 1. And then you got my guy, Sunjae Im, Patrick Reed, and Justin Rose. That rounds out the top 10. And just on the other side of that is Spieth, Matsuyama, Dustin Johnson. See what I'm saying? He's all the way down there at number 13. When's the last time you haven't seen him in the top 5 picks?
Or at least top 10.
I know. That's what. And then below him is Koepka.
Right.
So Koepka's fallen from grace too on the odds. He was chalk number 1 for a lot of the tournaments last year. So that's what you got to love about golf, man. The PGA. I mean, I just mentioned 18, 19 guys. Any of those guys could win this tournament in just a flash without anybody saying, "Wow, that's a surprise." So those odds were brought to you by mybookies.ag. So we love those guys. All right, let's talk about a couple of things here. I have 2 value picks that I want to share with you, and they just happen to be 2 of the guys that finished -1 after 2 rounds last week and unbelievably missed the cut without making a bogey.
You're going back to the well with
happen?
You're going back to the well with Graham McDowell?
I'm going back to the well with Graham McDowell and Max Homa. They both played well. Their current form and chatter has been real strong. They're 7,200 and 7,000 on DraftKings, and backing them up on FanDuel at 8,600 and 8,500. So the pricing's a little different on FanDuel, so it's very similar really in pricing. But those are the 2 that I wanted to share on the show. I've got some other guys that are, I think, going to make the lineups, but I have to make that final decision, and we hope to catch you guys in Discord to get those final lineups. But what do you think about McDowell and Homa? Am I off base, or what do you think?
Yeah, I spent more time looking at Graham this week because of his course history here. He won it in 2013.
Yeah. Made
the cut last year, and he's number 18th in strokes gained approach this year. So, again, as you mentioned, steady play last week, strong course history, good price at 7,200. So I do like that pick.
Good. Do you have any value guy you'd like to throw into the mix for discussion?
Well, it really starts with Jim Furyk for me at 7,100, as I mentioned. I do like McDowell in that same price range. And then I'll mention Joel Dahman, who is 7,500. Okay. He is 40th in driving accuracy this year and 15th in strokes gained approach. he is one of the just a couple guys who's top 40 in both of those categories.
Correct.
He was solid last week. Last year, he was 16th in this tournament. So he's the other value guy probably who's at the top of the list for me.
I absolutely love that pick. Dahman is one of the guys that I will be rostering as well. I just think his price is too low. And if you look at before the shutdown, he was really playing some golf, man. I mean, the guy was just tearing it up. So, and nobody ever talks about him. You know, you can't hardly pronounce his name. I mix it up all the time. Damon, Dahman, everything. You know, he just doesn't get any respect. But he's a nice golfer. He really is. Well, let's flip the table on a guy or two that you're flirting with winning the tournament, and see what if we're on the same page there. I have two guys that I'd like to mention out of a pool of 5 that I believe one of them will win the tournament.
Okay, so for me, I wasn't feeling as much clarity at the very top of the board in terms of the prices and the odds that you mentioned. So one guy I'm looking at to get in my lineups who's in that second tier of pricing and odds, he's actually under 9K on DraftKings, is Patrick Reed. And last week, I liked the way that he looked. He was battling, and he was really sharp around the greens. Okay, he was 5th in strokes gained around the green, 3rd in strokes gained putting. And my understanding of the areas around the greens here at Harbortown this week is that they've seeded the grass a little bit differently because we're playing in June. Usually this is the tournament the week after the Masters, and that's why you don't see a lot of the big dogs, because they play the Masters and then they take the week off.
Right.
But this year, because of the new schedule, we get this star-studded field, but it's different conditions being in June. So tighter lies around the green. It puts a real premium on being able to chip in those tight lies, and he's one of the best short game players in the world. So even though, you know, the downside is that on this course, his best finish is tied for 48th, I like him as a guy who's under 9K who might just shoot up there and potentially win the tournament.
Well, you'll see a lot of putts and chips, like just miss the flag stick, start picking up momentum, roll off the green, roll through the small little bit of rough and right into the water. I mean, you can't miss those greens. If you hit the wrong spot, you're going to go in the water. So there definitely is a big need to have a really solid short game. You know, the wedge play and putting is going to be very key. Now, with that seeding, how they did it different with the grass, I'm thinking that may hold a little better, because normally the way their course is, and they play it in April, you know, it's pretty fast and things roll out and we'll roll into water. And if that type of condition is now when it's hot and dry with a little breeze, man, it would be, you know, impossible to hold those greens. So hopefully it will benefit, you know, those guys that can take a wedge and stick it and spin it back a little bit and be right on it. For that reason, one of my top guys is Hideki Matsuyama. I just love his game, his accuracy, his consistency. He's another guy that's had good runs there at the Heritage. And, you know, he can hit the ball far, and he's very accurate in his placement with wedges. It all has to do with the putter. If he can get the flat stick going. He didn't play last week. He decided to come back this week. So, you know, I don't know if that small bit of rust being in competition will hurt him, but I don't think so. I mean, he's been playing, you know, every day. So I think he'll be fine, fresh, and a nice play. He's 9,500 on DraftKings, which is a little pricey, but he's that good in my opinion. And he's a big fat 11,000 on FanDuel. But I feel that guy has a top 5 in him this week. I really do. I like how he plays that course.
Yeah, I wish that he played last week, because, you know, I like his profile at this course as well. And he's 9th this year in strokes gained approach. So just got to hope that he's been practicing enough to be sharp this week. I'll mention a couple of the guys in the top 10 in strokes gained approach. These are more of the expensive guys. Terrell Hatton, he's only 8,000. He didn't play last week, but the last time he played, he won back in March. And last year he finished top 30. Check that. A couple years ago, he was top 30 at this tournament, so he has experience here. Colin Morikawa is second on the tour in strokes gained approach.
That dude is
So
awesome, man.
yeah, he's awesome.
He's a really true star of this league. But can he stomach what happened last week?
Right. That's going to be fascinating to watch. And he hasn't played this course yet in tournament play, so that'll be fun to watch. And then JT and Rory are 5 and 6 strokes gained approach. And, as I mentioned, this is where we get into some of the most expensive players, guys with the best odds, and it makes a lot of sense with those stats. So will you have some JT in your lineup after he treated you so well last week in the big bet?
I will have him. He's not going to be my just dead core build, but usually for these I'll build 3 or 4 lineups, and he'll probably be in 2 of them. It's just, if I play in the 2 that I play him, I'm going to have to sub out the other guy that I'm playing as my key in my top 2. And I'll give that out here as well because, I think that it gives our listeners a chance to the evening to look this guy over. But Bryson DeChambeau, he's 10-7. He's the 4th favorite to win the tournament. He's bulked up. Everybody made a fuss last week because he put about 20 pounds of muscle on. It's crazy because he used to be thin built, and now he's all stout. He's pounding the ball. The dude is a weird guy. He calculates everything down to the centimeter, but his wedge game, his putting, it's all awkward, but it's fantastic. And I've always thought since he came onto the tour, 3-4 years ago, that he would eventually hit star type caliber. Now he's won events. He's been very successful, but to move into that top 5 and become a huge star, I think with the extra muscle and the focus and the maturity he has now, I really like DeChambeau this season, and I like him in this particular tournament.
Yeah, I'm fascinated to watch him as well. I really enjoy the fact that he has a unique approach to golf, and he's sticking to it, and he's trying different things, whether it's putting with the pin in, bulking up, same size clubs. I just love it, and I root for him. And he's been off and on at this course, cut in 17, cut in 19, but in 18 he was tied for 3rd. So the thing with him is that extra power now. It's like some of these fairways, is he going to have too much power? He's going to have to dial it down just to keep it in the fairway because he's just hitting monster drives. But great form last week, so we'll see if he can back it up with another top 10. And
I'll tell you, he can roll it on the flat surface too with the best of them. His putting is crazy. So it'll be. It's going to be a great tournament. There's so many guys that will be in the mix. I'm dying to see how your man Morikawa handles blowing that tournament, that 2.5-foot putt. I'm going to steer clear of him just because of that, because it has, as awesome as he's been, he's averaging 70 fantasy points an outing. He's 12 for 12 in cuts and 4 top 10s, and it looked like he was going to win the tournament last week. But when you miss something like that and you're young and you're up and coming, I think that plays with your brain a little bit for a while. So I will see.
Yeah, I think it will. I think he's capable of bouncing back. The bigger challenge is just that he hasn't played this course before. And so that's why I'll be a little bit hesitant to play him.
No doubt. All right, man. I think that gives everybody an idea. I think for the record, I think I shot 107 there, which is embarrassing. But I'm telling you right now, man, if you're 20 feet to the left, which usually I'm happy if I can stick the ball on the green 20 feet from the pin, I'm thrilled. But here, you're bouncing on one of those railroad tie things, and you're into the drink. So I know I lost a lot of balls. I played Titleist at the time. I think I was down to like Max Flies or whatever those were. Dunlops or something.
Right.
I was just hoping to finish.
Yeah.
But it's beautiful though. It's going to be a fun course to watch. And it seems like now that they had the first tournament with no fans and how they covered it, I thought the coverage was terrific. So I'm really excited. I'm loving golf right now. I've always been a fan of watching it. It's other than basketball, it's my second favorite sport to watch on TV because you just get all the action shot after shot, and you can see what's going on and how people are playing different shots. And you can start after seeing, the 16th green for the 12th time, which way it's going to break, and you can see if they're playing it right. So it's a lot of fun, and I want to put together some top 5% lineups here for our members this week. I think it'd be awesome. We've been kicking some big time finishes in KBO. If we can layer some PGA in there, that'll get us ready for 43 days until the NBA tips it off. And I've been reading about that. Have you read some of the Disney stuff? It is so bizarre.
Some of the details. Yep.
Yeah, got certain rules, and you can go certain places, but not other places, and crazy. And then you hear, some of the guys speaking out with Kyrie now, a couple of folks stepping up, Patrick Beverly and a few people talking about some stuff. But from what I've read, they're playing, man. It's on. So it's going to happen pretty quickly.
That's right. And speaking of playing, we'll be back here on Friday night for the weekend PGA show. So looking forward to that.
This is your last chance. I'll take either Graham McDowell or Max Homa against Jim Furyk head to head. They're 73, 72, and 71. We won't make you pay the price with the shirtless because we lost a few watchers for that. How about the thing I hate most, and I know it sort of agitates you. And I know it doesn't matter to our members as much, but it's a bone to pick for me, so it'd be a tough bet to lose. Is how about just something simple like you have to have your hat backwards, which is I hate my hat backwards.
We can do that, or how about an entry on the weekend tournament, either this week or next. If somebody misses the cut, then the other guy has to fund the weekend entry for the other guy.
For what size tournament?
Just whatever the normal, solid, like the
$20.
$10 to $20, whatever
There's a $12
the
single entry on DraftKings for the weekend. It's always good. So that's it. $12 single entry and the hat backwards. And which guy are you picking though? Who do you want to face? Homa or McDowell?
I'll face McDowell. I'll take Furyk.
Ooh, okay. Against you got McDowell. The two old guys going at it then.
Let's get it on.
All right. Terrific. Any final words, man? I think we're up on our time here.
That's it. Switch over later if you want to. Shane and I are going to do a KBO podcast tonight. So after you finish this, if you want to play some KBO tonight, then flip over and listen to that one.
Fantastic. All right. We want to thank our sponsors again, mybookie.ag and tvg.com. And for all of our members out there, let's hit some good golf balls this week and make some scores. And definitely tune in for some KBO. We've got some momentum going there as well. So for my man, Andrew Hansen, who is at Language Olympic on Twitter, I'm at Joe Sarvati, and our buddy Shane, who will be doing KBO later, is at DET Sports Shane, Detroit Sports Shane, but DET. And then you can follow all of us and everything that goes on at DFS Coach Talk. So for Andrew Hansen, I am Coach. We look to catch you again tomorrow when we're going to crush it in DFS.